Okay. All right. So, John and Athena, thank you for being here with me. And I would love to hear you talk about what baptism means to you. I just want to comment that we had a wonderful time observing and witnessing Quincy's baptism, which was not terribly long ago, as a part of our life as a congregation. And we knew that you were in the process of expecting uh, babies. And now Amara is here, and you're preparing for her baptism. So I'd love to hear what you say, what you think as parents, how you're thinking about baptism as you move through this time in your family's life.
Would you like to start?
Sure. So for me, John and I had talked about this yesterday, and I kind of realized that the most significant thing about the baptism, thinking about Quincy's experience with the church, especially with us being new members, and then looking forward to Amara's baptism and continue to build these relationships with Wesleyan. Um, the baptism represented a shared experience for me. Um, there's always, the significance of baptism in terms of the relationship and connection with God and making that outward expression of faith. But I'm really clinging, especially maybe in this time right now where we're all kind of really distant, is that shared experience. And I think with that shared experience creates deeper relationships. Like I feel like the congregation experiencing Quincy baptized um, kind of drew them closer to him and getting to know him better. And as we go with Amara, into the future and having her baptized, that's another experience that we get to share with the congregation, and they get to know us better and we get to know them, and we get to look back and like, hey, do you remember, you were there for the baptism, and now you see her at confirmation, and now you see Quincy at confirmation. And that to me is really like what resonates with being in relationship with God and being in relationship with the church, is having those shared experiences and growing together and being in community together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Did I explain that okay? I'm tired.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, obviously there's the beliefs, that you die with Christ, and you're raised again, excuse me, and it's called it kind of symbolic of all that. But as a parent, I really feel like each baptism of each child for me is kind of like, now they're connected with God, and it actually brings me a sense of relief,
Mm.
and a
Mhm.
sense of calmness, and knowing that they've started this relationship with God, you know, and so I don't have to worry so much, in a sense that they're going to, because I truly believe that at that moment, the Holy Spirit is now with them, and the Holy Spirit can start building that relationship and restoring that relationship between them and our Creator, and that just brings me a huge sense of calmness and confidence, in the fact that they're going to go the right way.
Mhm. That's really good. I think that comforts a lot of parents in their hearts. I remember that as my children were approaching that time also.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people know that when your pregnancy started, you were expecting twins.
Mhm.
And now Amara is with us and Angel isn't.
Mhm.
How are you feeling about that? And is there a connection with what you were just talking about, John, with baptism for you guys?
Yeah, yeah, we've talked about it, and going through the whole situation, and we really feel like, that Angel, is what we named the other twin, that Angel really had to kind of absorb all of the bad in order for Amara to be able to survive the pregnancy, and to be able to be carried full term, and to come out healthy. um, and so, when we were talking about her baptism and her being baptized and just baptism in general, dying to our sin and becoming alive to Christ and sharing in the death and resurrection. It's almost as if Angel uh, had to pass away, unfortunately, in order for Amara to be able to live, and now, be baptized and be here to help make a difference in this world. And so there, we really do feel like there's a connection there. And although we had to go through the tragedy that we went through, ultimately from that death, we have received life, and, she's happy and healthy, and, things, we couldn't be more happy about her and how well she's doing. So did you have anything you want to?
Well, I mean, and just knowing, I mean, we went through that really difficult situation. And it's not the first time we've had a miscarriage. We had a miscarriage in the past. So this time we were a little bit further along, so it was a little bit more surprising. But I mean, again, just like we go through that and we feel that pain and we feel that hurt, and we go into these situations and we're very aware that there should have been two and there's one. So we appreciate even more, that Amara is healthy and she's good. But, again, just going back to that, being able to be somebody to share our story, our testimony with another person and help them through a hard time like that, the silver lining, I guess, or, God making something beautiful out of something not so beautiful. That we can then, we can go through that hardship and that pain, and then we can help be with somebody else who may be going through something similarly. I mean, it doesn't really relate to baptism, but I feel like that's really important. When we're discussing that loss, is that we can see that, that we can be that person for somebody else because we've experienced that.
Well, we believe that in baptism, God does send us out also in mission in the world to bring our stories. And I think a lot of that is who we are as God's people comes through our stories, through our experiences, through that willingness to have compassion and empathy for other people. And you do a beautiful job of just putting that out there in the world and saying, hey, yes, it hurts. I'm sure it hurt like crazy. But out of this experience, we are able to see God still with us and believe and trust that, we're walking the path that God's guiding us along.
Yes.
I hear that in your story. So any last words?
No, I mean, yeah, I think that really, it's really important that, when we do go through things and have those trials and tribulations and that pain, that we, make sure that we do try to look back and learn what we can learn from it, and, and really try to realize that God does, he really does care, that we're suffering and that we're hurting, and he really does want to make some good out of it. And just try to keep that faith and keep that spirit alive. And I was kind of thinking about it as we're just talking here, that, with baptism, we're kind of reminding the world, that Jesus did die, and that he did rise again. And in the same way, so we're kind of giving that testimony that, hey, this is what we believe and this is what we know because we've experienced this ourselves. And here's another person that, is going through that, in the same way that we share our story, of suffering and hurt, and that we did come through, and that there is a future and that things will get better, and, we will be okay in the end. And ultimately, that is what we all kind of strive for and live for, is that day where, we are, with God again, and everything is good and there's no more hurt and no more pain, so.
That's a beautiful, important promise, to hang on to. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Stop.